and welcome back to my channel. This is probably one of my most requested videos ever, and I've been waiting to do this for quite a while. I don't know why I've been waiting, because nothing is going to change in there. It's always going to look this way until someone else moves in, because Ali won't let me do any more to the house. So I thought that it was about time that I gave you a first proper look inside of my wardrobe and how I store all of my rubbish that I've got in there, from handbags to shoes to clothes to jackets. It's all in there, and it's quite a small space as well. I thought it was absolutely massive when we moved in here. I thought it was the biggest wardrobe ever, and it's actually one of the things that we were like, oh, it's so amazing, it's got such great storage. And now we're like, how on earth are we going to keep all of our stuff in there? I'm constantly having to clear it out. I'm constantly having to be really brutal with how much stuff I keep in there. And yeah, so it's not as big as I once thought it was. And it's also not the prettiest of wardrobes. I'm sure on YouTube you're quite used to these palatial wardrobes where they've got centre aisles and beauty stations and things like that. Unfortunately, this is our first home, so I'm not quite there yet, but hopefully one day. But inside this wardrobe is very much a small space with maximised storage and all of that stuff. So I'm not going to jabber on any more about it. I'm going to show you how I store all of my stuff and what's inside my wardrobe. So let's go. So welcome inside of my wardrobe. It's probably not what you expect at all. It's certainly not how I would want my wardrobe to look. It would be all white and bright and you could see everything. Not practical at all, but we've made the best of a bad situation and really maximised on the space that we've got, because it does go back really far. Now this actually looks like our house when we moved in, because this was our first home when Ali and I bought it together, and it didn't look how we wanted it to look. It was really kind of like dingy, everything was magnolia and wood, and it just did not reflect our style at all. But we were on such a tight budget, it was unbelievable. So we couldn't actually afford to decorate on the inside of our wardrobes. So the house looks nice and white, but in here it's still very much that Artex ceiling, the magnolia walls and the wood effect, everything. But it is a small space, and I feel like we've really done the most with it. I had to beg Ali to put in some shelves for me to store my handbags on, but now I feel like it is quite functional for the small space that it is. So let's have a look at all of the rubbish that I keep inside my wardrobe and how I managed to store so much stuff inside of a very, very small space, because I think you might be quite shocked by how much stuff is actually in here. So first off, let's have a look at this section here. So at the front here, I have all of the items that I have been buying recently. I put them at the front because I usually can't wait to wear them. So they sit there at the front until I feed them into everything. Then back here, I keep most of my bottoms, so jeans, dark jeans and trousers. I tend to double these up just to save a little bit of space. So I've got my two blue pairs of jeans like so. Falling off, oops. And then I've got my black jeans here, and then trousers and things like that. As you can see, it's quite tightly packed in here. Probably due a clean out, but that doesn't matter. And then back here I have most of my jumpers and shirts and tops and things like that. So this section down here was a little bit of a sort of void area, and I'm sure that it would make filtering through my wardrobe and finding things a lot easier if I could just move everything. But it was such a lot of space to be wasted that I now use down here to store like my overnight bags and any sort of boxes that I might need if I might be selling something. It all goes under here, and it's just kind of out of the way because there's nowhere else for it to go. So I do use this space quite well, but it does make getting through the actual bulk of my clothing a little bit difficult. But at least it's out of the way and no one can see it. Down here I have a little cushion just to pop the bag that I'm using on at the moment so that it's not sitting on the floor. So it's this cute little cushion that I got from Dunelm, and I can just shove the handbag that I'm using in my wardrobe out of the way, ready for me to grab in the morning if I'm rushing off somewhere or if I've got to pop out. It's just easy to grab and go. So up here here is where I keep a few accessories and bits and bobs. I've got the sunglasses that I wear the most at the moment. I've got my Dior So Real, my Celine New Audrey style, and also my newest sunglasses purchase, which I don't actually know the name of. These from Christian Dior. I bought these in Harrods and I totally wasn't planning on buying them, but it was sunny and they were cool and I bought them. This is a gift from the people at Burberry, and it's a scarf that I'm going to take to get monogrammed and have my name on it once we're married, so that I get the right name on it, the right initials, sorry. Then I keep the box for my Chanel handbag at the back because it looks pretty. Basically, that's the only reason that is there right now. And then if you take all of these bits out, look at the state of that back there. That's not how it's supposed to look. Obviously Lumi has been in there playing with it. Let's bring that to the front. So this is my sunglasses rack, and I've got to admit it's not the best sunglasses rack in the world, but I didn't expect it to be. It cost me £5 off eBay, but it is a place to organise them when Lumi hasn't ruined it. And I've got sunglasses from Dior. These are the Dior So Real ones. These are, where are these ones from? I think these are Marc Jacobs. Yep, we've got a Marc Jacobs pair. Then we've got more Dior, Loewe, Porsche design, and these are my favourites. These are my vintage Ray-Bans. These have got to be 50 years old now. They belong to my dad, and I pestered him for so long for him to give them to me. So these are a bit of a pride possession of mine because there's pictures of him when I was a baby and he was wearing these sunglasses, so they do mean a lot to me. Then we move on to my storage unit. I know that most people use this for beauty, but I have this in here because it fits, and that's the main thing. It's the one thing that I could get to fit in this section here. And I keep all of my underwear in here, and that is separated using those like IKEA cubes. So I've got like bras in one thing and